folks, welcome to Paranormal TV. I'm Mike, your host, and to answer your question right off the top, what is a Playa circle? It's the name I've given to some highly strange formations my 3 growing daughters and I stumbled upon while in Nevada in late 2013. They were 6-foot rings impressed into the surface of a dry, flat lake bed, aka a playa, and apparently when it was wet. What was so strange about them is that there's no footprints nearby them or tracks, so it's not easy to explain how they were formed by nature or by man without leaving any clues. Plus, they're the very first of their kind anywhere, as near as I've been able to determine. We found about half a dozen or so playa circles on Lake Claire, which is just outside of Death Valley Park on Scotty's Castle Road. Some of you have probably heard of that. Each ring was about the same size and very circular, but each was unique in its own way, making their overall formation appear to be more the result of a natural process rather than what you'd get with some sort of tool or machine. But then when you try to start coming up with natural explanations, there's really not a whole lot to grab onto. Dust devil whirlwinds blowing small muddy rocks around in a circle? Okay, maybe. Tornado-like wind speeds definitely could move small rocks, and the shape is right. But even if that is the answer, then why has nobody else ever reported even a single playa ring before, when there's an estimated 20,000 dry lakes in the world, 7 billion people, and whirlwinds everywhere? It really doesn't seem to add up. Another idea is spinning ice circles. Maybe small rocks frozen in an ice circle act as a scriber or stylus on the playa surface as the ice circle spins, leaving no clues behind once the ice melts and dries up. At first that was my favorite natural theory, but I'm no longer so sure that it fits all the evidence. For example, never mind where the shear or rotational current needed to form ice circles in the first place would come from on a dead flat playa only inches deep, like 3-4 inches deep max, on Bonnie Claire in particular. Forget all that. Why were all the rings the same size? 6 feet. Why were there no inner or outer rings formed by other randomly distributed small rocks? And why was there evidence to suggest that some of the rocks had tumbled their way around in a circle, end over end, rather than simply sliding or scraping their way around? I'm telling you, nothing seems to fit right, and it's highly strange no matter how you look at it. 2 words for why I feel that playa circles should be brought to your attention. My history. Whether you believe me or not, or can accept that it's possible or not. Me, I'm convinced that I saw a crop circle in 1971 and an oscillating black triangle UFO in 1980. For those of you unfamiliar with the timelines, that puts those sightings at about a decade each before each phenomenon even had a name. Now, I don't know what's up with that, and I don't know what to say about it, but I will say that as a kid, I didn't tell a soul about the crop circle for fear of, seeming crazy or a loon. Yet I do have friends and family who could confirm that I spoke of seeing an oscillating black triangle UFO starting in my mid-20s and on to this day. The point is that while you may not, I do have reason to believe that these strange marks in the mud might turn out to be more than just a hoax or simple curiosity. I've assessed everything about the rings to the best of the abilities God has given me, and decided that there are enough problems in any natural or man-made theories to make me suspect that neither is the full answer. My guess is no better than anyone else's, you for example, but I am the first to see or study them, and I say that their solution is not going to come easy, just like crop circles and BT UFOs. This time I'm not waiting or walking quietly though. People are going to hear about the rings, let the chips fall where they may. But whatever happens, it's on me, not on God. The Creator is under no obligation to comply with my theories, just as nature is under no obligation to behave the way scientists or anyone else expects. Okay, so to fully understand the playa circle mystery, you need to know a bit about the phenomenon of moving rocks, which was a puzzle itself for almost a century until it was recently solved by a science team. Rocks frozen in floating panels of wind-blown ice is the answer. Not aliens messing with our heads as I suspected it to be. Okay, I blew it there. I mean, I was nowhere even close to being certain it was aliens, but admittedly I did strongly suspect it. Hey, everyone makes mistakes, especially when you're exploring the outer boundaries. Even moving rocks, however, have always made linear trails before, long, meandering lines, so the rings are something new. I congratulated the science team who solved the moving rocks of Racetrack Playa mystery, because I believe that for the most part they have solved the mystery. And then I asked them if they'd seen the rings on Bonnie Claire. I guess not, because they told me that the rings are indeed curious and that they'll check them out next time they're out that way. That's fine, but I'm not waiting for them or anybody else anymore. It doesn't make any sense to me that I should just wait and keep quiet about the rings like I did with the crop circle as a kid. It feels like I should have learned better by now, and I hope, pray, and believe that I have. If I'm wrong, then I guess I've got more to learn than I thought. Behind me is a portion of Rattray Marsh Park in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. It's a beautiful wetland walking park on the shores of Lake Ontario, not far from Toronto. About 7 years ago, a local photographer was in the park and took photos of a perfect spinning ice circle that he found in Sheridan Creek. The photos went viral on the internet at the time. I've tried to reach the photographer to ask exactly where he found the ice circle, but got no response, so I printed an 8x10 of it and tracked the spot down. This is the spot for sure. There's an old tree trunk gone now that used to hang out over the creek that you can see in the original picture, but it must have fell down years ago and the creek took it away. The weather storm took it away. But I've checked thoroughly and satisfied myself that this is the spot. Okay, I'm going to take you down to the creek in a few minutes and show you what's there and what I've learned of the flow conditions where the ice circle formed. But first I want to make you aware of two possibly related things. One is the Oregon Sri Yantra, and the other is the Maryland Ice Circle. The Maryland Ice Circle holds the distinction of being the only ice circle ever reported that had a spur coming off the circle, like a ring with a short line attached, exactly like the earliest crop circles did as they first evolved from simple circles. In February 2001, the Maryland Ice Circle formed overnight on a farmer's pond that had no current, none, in a sheet of ice not thick enough to support a person. No official study of the circle was done that I can find, and very little information is available, yet research seems to confirm that it did happen and was physically there. Now, the Oregon Sri Yantra was a gigantic and complex Hindu religious symbol, a quarter-mile wide, wow, carved into a Playa hardpan in a remote part of the Oregon desert. Yeah, Oregon had a desert. Who knew? Was first reported in 1990 by an Air Force pilot on a daily training run over Mickey Basin east of Steens Mountain. The pilot said the Yantra wasn't there one day, then was the next. The pilot was also the first at the remote site to check it out, and he reported that the lines were uniformly deep and smooth with beveled sides, the soil seemingly scooped out and removed from the playa surface entirely. It made the local papers, and then 3 different parties came forward claiming to be the Yantra's creators. None of their claims was ever proven true, despite the fact that one of them was fined $100 for defacing public lands. And then he started the business out of it, creating beach art for corporate clients. I've seen his attempt at a similarly large playa formation, and while I do give him points for effort, because it took his crew weeks to make it, it was like the difference between a cartoon and a photograph. Abstract and freestyle with far fewer lines. It looked to me like there would have been no need to accurately measure anything at all. It was estimated back in 1990 in US dollars that it would have cost $60,000 just to survey and stake out the Oregon Sri Yantra. By the way, Sri Yantra is a Hindu religious symbol, as I say, and it means lots of good stuff like love, man and woman, peace, eternity. They're also known as portals. Ask me, I didn't put it there. So let me guess, you've never heard of the Oregon Sri Yantra before, am I right? Okay, well I understand that you'd have to verify things for yourself first, but I'd appreciate it if you'd just take a minute right now to remember how you first felt when you first learned of the Oregon Sri Yantra and how big, beautiful, and complex it was, yet that you had never heard even a word about it in the mainstream media. If you need a hint, you should feel, outraged at being deceived. I mean, cripes, the media practically gushed about that fake crop circle ad in California, and doubters are always asking for proof, claiming that there is none. Well, wouldn't the yantra have deserved at least a sideways glance from that perspective? Seriously, how could that not have been shown to the wider public so that they could get at least a look at the data and make up their own minds about it? Believe what you want about public disinterest, but a lie of omission is still a lie. 25 years ago, and the yantra is almost totally, or it is totally washed away now. It's neither visible from satellite or on the ground, and it's almost lost to history. People do want to know about verifiable strangeness like this, and copy editors would have understood that even in 1990. This just never made it across or to their desk, is my guess. The really blatant and embarrassing events, like embarrassing to the powers that be, they get blocked much earlier and higher up, it seems. So to all you skeptics, stop telling witnesses to put up or shut up and start demanding that the media do their job. Redirect your fire, please and thank you. Keep in mind that I do believe that ice circles, can form in nature, and that most of them are natural. Not this one, it came in my freezer. It's just that I'm not convinced that all ice circles are natural, just like I'm not convinced that all Playa circles are natural, or that all oscillating BT UFOs are natural, or that every single crop circle was made by Doug and Dave Chorley on their way home from the pub. Call me a skeptic. Okay. The guy who reported this ice circle in 2008 reported seeing another ice circle in the park in a different spot on a different day, frozen in a sheet of ice instead of just, spinning. Or not just spinning, but it was frozen, which really got my attention. These things, ice circles, are super scarce, like 10 times more so than crop circles. And here we had two of them at two different times in two different spots within the same 1 square kilometer. That's hard to ignore if you're a mystery hunter. Not that I consider myself a mystery hunter, I'm really more of an answer hunter, but whatever. Anyway, as far as the Playa circles go, this park feels like about the best lead I've got at the moment. I'm preparing for a long road though, and I think that any other people interested in seeing developments or a resolution of this puzzle, you're in for a long road too. So I decided to make a video about this enigma, this phenomena, whatever it is, now, early, so that the internet would have time to, have whatever effect it's going to have over time. Maybe it'll help pull in reports from people around the world, or could even inspire hoaxers, which I'd actually be all for that because it will help us to understand what's going on. And I will be conducting some experiments myself. So stay tuned and stay with me, and I'll keep this channel updated until the enigma of Playa circles is finally solved, God willing. I really think this could get interesting as time unfolds. Or you could always subscribe, and then updates will arrive on your screen automatically. Just an idea. All right, you bunch, come on. Let's go down to Sheridan Creek and check it out before you blast off. Okay, so here is the section of river that had the ice circle. It's right about there. I can't really show you at the moment. As you can see, there's no formation of ice, or no formation of a circle at all. I was here before the river froze, checking it out, and there is a backing up here a bit. There is a rotational current that starts over here somewhere, over there, and the circle was about there, something like that. Okay, there is a rotational current that goes all the way down here in this little, because the main part of the river, the flow, comes out there. And then as you can maybe see, there is like some branches and stuff there. On about that line, the shore, you can see the rocks under the bridge. There's a shore there. So there's a section of water in here where the water sort of peels back as it flows around this bend. Peels back and then comes back this way, a long way, and then swirls back around in a oblong rotational current like that. Okay. All right, so that's where the shear or rotational current comes from. But how the Rattray Marsh ice circle formed in solid ice, which it did. Apparently it wasn't that thick, but it was solid.
I don't know. They've formed before in very thick ice, 15 inches and stuff like that. So it's a bizarre phenomenon. I'm just going to take a second here to show you where I think the ice circle was. Right about a little further out than that. Can't really see much. I can't reach it, but it's out there, around there. Okay. Now, why I'm sure this is the same spot that the photograph was taken is because of this curve over here. Just need to walk over here. Try not to swing the camera around too much to make you nauseous. You see that curve there? Why is this blue? I guess the snow is blue. See, there's a curve down there. You see that? It's like a parking curve. I don't know how it got here. I guess they're using it for buttressing the shoreline. But if you check all the photographers' photographs, I'm going to have to let you do that yourself. I don't want to post his photograph, but if you check them, you'll see that there's an angle from about here where you can see that curb. And also, the way the river goes matches the photograph right there. It is the same place. There's another shoreline feature here that tells us what's going on. Where does that start? Yeah, I think the original photograph was taken about here, right from about this angle here. And so the ice circle was down about there somewhere. If you check the photograph against what I'm showing you here, you'll see the shoreline matches up. It is 7 years later, so there's minor changes, but it's basically
Ice Circles 101. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, tell your friends. Got to spread the word. All right, to end this video, you're going off into space. See you later.
Y'all come back.